In a recent podcast interview, Amir Khan said, creative arts, if they choose to do so, can shape the social fabric. But that raises a fascinating question. Do movies shape society or do they merely mirror it? Let's take a journey through time, decade by decade, across two of the world's biggest film industries in search of the answer. Which two film industries? The American film industry or Hollywood and the Hindi film industry in India. Let's start with the era between 1900s and 1920s, the age of silent dreams. Cinema was born in silence. In the US, The Birth of a Nation in 1915 became a blockbuster and a deeply racist one at that. It did not just reflect the racial tensions of post Civil War America, it reinforced them. The film was even used as propaganda by the Ku Klux Klan. Meanwhile, in India, Raja Harishchandra in 1913 was the first Indian feature film. It mirrored mythological morality, portraying the ideal of truth and sacrifice. In a colonial era, it subtly reminded Indians of their cultural identity. So even at its very birth, cinema was both a mirror and a molder, one dividing, the other uniting. Now let's move on to the 1930s and 1940s. In the US, the Great Depression gave rise to escapist fantasies. The Wizard of Oz in 1939, Gone with the Wind also in 1939, offered hope and nostalgia of a certain variety. Hollywood became America's collective dream therapist. In India, films like Kismet in 1943 brought anti-colonial subtext under censorship. A thief turning patriotic, symbolic of rebellion beneath British rule. Films reflected people's struggles but also gave them new ways to imagine freedom. Now let's look at the 1950s. Post-war America projected optimism. Singin' in the Rain in 1952 and Rebel Without a Cause in 1955 mirrored a generation split between conformity and rebellion. In newly independent India, Mother India from 1957 defined national character, sacrifice, morality, and resilience. It did not just show the Indian woman as strong, it made her the moral symbol of the nation. This was cinema at its best. This was cinema nation building. Now the 1960s. In the US, Easy Rider from 1969 captured the counterculture, freedom, drugs, anti-establishment vibes. But guess who's coming to dinner? In 1967 went a step further. It challenged racial prejudice directly. In India, in 1965 released Devanand's Guide, which broke moral codes, adultery, spirituality, self-liberation. Society was not ready, but cinema pushed it forward. Art began to shape values, not just show them. In 1970s, America had Taxi Driver in 1976, The Godfather in 1972, Apocalypse Now in 1979, which were reflections of moral decay and Vietnam-era disillusionment. India had Zanjeer in 1973. It marked the birth of the angry young man. Amitabh Bachchan's persona mirrored middle-class frustration, but it also defined masculinity for an entire generation. Society inspired the films, and the films in turn reshaped society's heroes. In the 1980s, the US entered the Ronald Reagan era. Top Gun from 1986 and Back to the Future from 1985 celebrated optimism and patriotism. Films became national mood boosters. In India, Disco Dancer from 1982 and Mr. India from 1987 were colorful escapes from economic hardship. Yet, even Mr. India carried a subtle message, the invisible common man rising against corruption. Escapism itself became a form of hope. 1990s now. The Cold War had ended. America gave us Titanic in 1997. It was a romantic tragedy on a global scale. But Fight Club in 1999 revealed modern alienation under the burden of consumerism. India liberalized its economy. Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge, or DDLJ as we all call it, from 1995 redefined love in the NRI era. It wasn't just a movie, it shaped Indian diaspora identity, balancing modernity with tradition. Cinema became a cultural export, defining how nations saw themselves and how others saw them. In the 2000s, especially after 9/11, Hollywood turned introspective. The Dark Knight from 2008 wrestled with the ethics of fear and control. In India, Rang De Basanti from 2006 revived political consciousness. Young people started questioning political apathy. Amir Khan's own film proved his quote, "Creative arts can shape the social fabric," with his unforgettable dialogue from Rang De Basanti, "Zindagi jeene ke do hi tarike hote hain." Art started reflecting not what we were, but what we needed to become. In the US, in the 2010s, we had movies like Get Out in 2017, which exposed racial microaggressions, Spotlight in 2015, which demanded truth, and Black Panther in 2018, which celebrated black pride. In India, 2019 had the famous movie Article 15, which confronted caste like no other movie I have seen. Dangal from 2016 challenged gender norms. Both industries were no longer content with reflection, they aimed to reform. Cinema became activism. In the 2020s, in a world of streaming, algorithms, and polarization, films now do both mirror and mold simultaneously. From Joker in 2019 to Oppenheimer in 2023, from the Kashmir Files in 2022 to 12th Fail in 2023, movies have become moral battlegrounds. They reveal who we are and nudge us toward who we might become. Amir Khan was right. Joe McCarthy was also right. If creative arts choose to, they can shape the social fabric. They can turn a capitalist country into communist and a communist country into capitalist, because cinema is no longer and probably never was just entertainment. It's a living dialogue between society and screen. The question isn't whether films mirror or mold us. The truth is, they do both. Every frame is a reflection of what we have been and a blueprint of what we could be. So maybe it is time we stop asking the question, do films shape society, and start asking, what kind of society do we want our films to reflect or create?